What's up, everybody? As you can hear, I am leading this show, I think, for 2 episodes in a row because Archon's allergies are acting up. But you're here with the greatest podcast of all time. Yes, I'm saying that. I'm Rook,
And I'm Archon.
and you're listening to another episode of Raw and Nerdy. We are one episode away from episode 100.
Episode 99. I apologize already for my super nasally sounding voice because, like he said, my allergies are kicking my butt today. So I'm going to fight through it, and we're going to give you a good show anyway.
Yeah, we got an interesting topic today. We're not doing a really huge thought invoking topics, but we are talking about the fantasy genre today, and we're going to be talking about J.R. Tolkien and Lord of the Rings effect or influence on high fantasy genre.
Yeah. I say there's some thought inducing here, but it's not one of our deep dives, but there is definitely some thought inducing here because yeah, we'll get into that.
Oh yeah. So anyhow, let's start off with the usual. How was your week, sir?
My week was not too shabby.
Oh, I heard you got some really good news this week.
Oh yeah, I got the job that I wanted. I actually start tomorrow for the 12th. So by the time you guys hear this, I'll have worked my first week already. But yep, I got the job I wanted. I'm really excited to start tomorrow. It kind of worked out really good because, like, instead of just a normal day to day, my first day is when we're having a company wide meeting. So I'll get to meet everybody, just hear a lot about the company and the processes and how, like, the quarter's gone and things like that, so that I can get kind of a heads up of what I'm getting myself into and everything. But it's going to be really cool. It's a really good way to start out. And
That is an awesome way to start.
heck yeah. And food's provided and everything, so it's gonna be a great day. And Rook was joking. He's like, "Yeah, you should be late on your first day." And I told him, I was like, "Well, it's gonna be kind of tough considering my boss is picking me up from my house to take me to this meeting. So kind of hard to be late on your first day when your boss is picking you up." So
Are
unless
you
he's
aware
late,
of what time he's coming to get you?
yep, he's gonna be here at 8 a.m. 'Cause
Nice.
the meeting thing starts a half hour from here at 9. So we're going to get there a little bit early, right when check-in starts. That way, as people are getting there, he can introduce me to them, and it's gonna be cool.
That's a very smart boss, actually.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of awesome. Yeah,
That's
the
awesome,
guy,
man.
like, after I did my shadow and everything, I met with him and I sat there and talked to him for like a good hour. Like, the way he manages and stuff is almost identical to me. Like, we have the same ideas. We even have like the same, like, thought processes on how things go. Like, I straight up told him, like, one thing I'd really like to do is when I'm first starting, I want to go out on each of these routes with these guys. And he's like, "Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to have you do." And I told him, I was like, because, like, being a manager, I need to know what they do because I can't manage somebody I don't know what they do. Like, if I'm
Oh,
going to be
you're
your
actually
boss,
going
I
to be
need,
a manager.
yeah, I'm going to be a route manager. I'm going to be
Nice.
the first point of contact for all the routes. I'm going to make sure all the routes are running smoothly. I'm going to make sure they have everything they need to succeed and hit their bonuses, because if they succeed and hit their bonuses, then I hit mine. And so, yeah, I'm going to be a manager. And I was kind of telling him, I was like, it's hard for me to manage if I don't know what they do, because how am I supposed to help them with
True.
what they're doing if I don't know what they're doing? And he's like, that's exactly why I send you out on these routes. He goes, that is super refreshing to hear, because that's exactly how I feel too. You got to know what they do and you got to be able to step into their shoes.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's going to work out really good. Um, I'm super excited for it.
I
So
got to do something real quick. Let me find it.
ooh, don't do it. I knew you were going to do that. I knew it. I knew that was coming. Yeah, it's going to be a big step, big adventure, but me and him mesh really well. I think we're going to get along really great. And that's really cool for me. It's a family owned company, not a corporate company, so it's perfect for me. Like, won't say I hate working for corporations, but I'd rather work for, a company that cares about their employees rather than just be another number on the stat sheet, you know? So,
That's true. I am happy for you, man. That is awesome, and it's a step up from your previous jobs, which is amazing.
yeah.
But what you told me about the company and their turnover rate, it sounds like you got yourself a lock in.
Yeah, and when he says turnover rate, I mean, like, the district manager that I'm gonna be working under has been there for 18 years. The regional manager that's above him that is also in the building, he's been there, I think he said, like, close to 25 years. Like, even the
Mhm.
driver that I drove with has been there for 10 years. Like, everybody sticks around because it's obviously a good company to work for, so I'm pretty excited, if you can't tell.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but yeah, and it's kinda weird because me and my wife went to church today, and, like, the whole sermon they were preaching at church was about, divine providence and how, like, things work out at the right time for the right reasons, and I'm like, "Oh, that's weird," because I just had a job that I really liked where they ended my assignment just out of the blue at the exact time that this company was looking for somebody. It just, like, it worked
Yep.
out, like, perfect, so I've always lived my life by the motto, everything happens for a reason. Sometimes you don't
W
always know what that reason is, but it always happens for a reason.
What
And
would be funny though is if your previous company actually knew this company and told them, "Hey, look for this employee, this person's
no,
resume."
they didn't. But that would have
I know,
been cool.
but it'd been
I
really
mean,
cool.
they really liked me there and they didn't want me to leave, but there circumstances kind of forced their hands and I had to leave.
Mhm.
Like it's just they couldn't afford to keep me through the temp agency. They would have if they could have, but
Yeah, that's crappy.
temp agencies are ridiculous. I actually found out a little bit about that and like apparently like if I were to quit through the temp agency, they wouldn't have even been able to hire me because of the non-compete in the contract for 9 months.
Hmm.
Oh, that would have yeah, not worked out. And apparently they were the temp agency was getting paid like $36 an hour to have me there, which is
That's
just
a lot.
absolutely bonkers. I can understand why they couldn't afford to keep me there, but it all worked out great and yeah. So other than that, in the nerdy life, I've was been playing a lot of PoE. A lot of the people that I like my good friends that I play with decided that they were all gonna go play Battlefield 6, and I'm
Mm.
not a Battlefield person. I don't know, I just can't get into those shooter type of games. Plus, the game actually looks stunning and amazing, which means it would probably make my computer explode. So,
Make my computer explode. This
yeah,
Unreal Engine 5 stuff is crazy.
it's I don't know. Like even looking at the game on Steam, it said that my computer was missing like 2 or 3 things I needed to run it, and I'm like, my computer is like 7 years old now, so it might be time to like upgrade the old processor and motherboard and stuff. I mean, I've upgraded everything else, but
Hey,
it
my
might be
computer
time.
hit 5 year my computer hit 5 years before I had to upgrade anything in it, so which is
I mean,
I'm happy for.
I've already upgraded my graphics card and my RAM, but I can't even put DDR5 RAM in my computer because the motherboard won't process or won't support it. So, I think it's just gonna be time to upgrade it, and maybe one of my kids will inherit this thing.
Well,
We'll see.
so if you do upgrade, say you upgrade the motherboard on that, luckily, as
I
long
think
as you
I'll
don't
just upgrade
change
a
your
whole new
hard
computer.
is your hard drive solid state for uh, desktop processor for the,
Yes.
operating
I
system?
think
That's
it
what I'm
is.
thinking of.
It is solid state, but I'm fairly certain it's, like it's got hardly any memory, which is one of the big problems I have with this computer and why I have to run an external solid state is
Mm.
because it's only got, like, 500 gigs. So,
So
like,
that's what I
it
do. I use on my computer, I set up, my operating system on a standalone C drive, and I tried moving everything that doesn't need to go on the C drive to another thing.
yeah. I think what I'm gonna end up like I said, I'm probably just gonna end up like this computer will end up being like the kids' computer where they can play games and stuff on it, and then I'm just gonna get get a new one eventually. Probably won't be for a little while, but get a new big boy that'll last me 5 or 6 years or so.
Oh yeah.
Something monstrous. I saw one today at Costco that had like a 16 gig 5080 Ti, and it had like I think it was a 4 gig solid state hard drive and like a super like I want to say it was it Intel or was it Ryzen? I don't know, but it was like a monster processor and everything, liquid cooled. I was like, oh, I want it. But
See, that's what's helping mine right now. It's just liquid cooled. I have actually one M.2 slot left that I can put a monstrous solid state on, and I want to do that still.
yeah,
How much was that computer? Because a 5080 is not a cheap graphics card.
yeah, it wasn't cheap. I think it was like $2,200 or something like that
Whew.
for the
And half of that's the graphics card.
yeah, yeah, at least half of it. But yeah, so since they all jumped ship and went to Battlefield, I was like, I've had this itch. I just kind of want to play an MMO. Like, I haven't really since I quit playing EverQuest. I haven't really played a good MMO. And since Rook's been talking about Lord of the Rings Online, I was like, I played that once a long time ago. Maybe I'll check it out. It's free. Why not? So I jumped in it yesterday and was playing it with him for a while, and then I was playing it for a while today, and I'm interested. It looks like it's going to be kind of fun. When I first started playing it, though, I was like, this game could be fun. The story seems like it's going to be pretty fun, but the graphics are just terrible. And Rook's like, dude, the graphics aren't that bad. Get over it. The graphics aren't that bad. I was like, no, you don't understand, man. These graphics suck. This thing looks like it's like a PS2 game. And then I realized that for some reason the game defaulted to like the lowest resolution ever and defaulted to like low settings on everything. So I turned everything like I
Yeah.
turned the settings up to high and I switched my resolution to that of my actual monitor. And now the game actually is it looks pretty dang good. Like it looks like a normal game, like you'd expect. And I'm like, but at first, man, it looked like something you'd play on seriously like PS2. And I was like, man, this is just I don't understand
See,
how you say this isn't that bad. Like, this is terrible. This is probably worse than EverQuest. And he's
and
like,
we're talking in
"Ah."
Discord. We're talking in Discord during this, and not once did either of us think for him to share his screen so I could see what he's talking
Well, we were playing the same game, so I just assumed you were looking at what I was looking at, and I'm like, man, this is like worse than EverQuest. Like, I don't, I'm shocked that it's this bad. And you're like, oh, it's not that bad. Get over it. And then like today, I'm like, I go into my settings because I was gonna mess with my UI a little, and I'm like, wait, why is this set on like 1025 by whatever resolution? I was like, what is this? And I turned it up and I'm like, oh my gosh,
about.
the world of difference that just made. Like, that just turned this into a real game.
And
Okay.
then all of your texture settings and everything set to the lowest possible, you had to boost up.
Right. The only problem is once I did that, like my map got all screwy and then the resolution
Oh,
of my
yeah.
map was awful. And I was looking for solutions and stuff. And a guy in chat was like, hey, you should try adding like a texture or you should try adding a skin pack. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I figured out how to do that and I imported in a skin pack. And then now everything's great. I actually
That's the
like
one
the
thing
skin
you
pack
have.
better anyway. It looks really cool.
The one thing you have over me with that skin pack is my map covers the entire screen. Yours is like a small square.
But there is a downfall to that, and that's that, like, when you're looking for, like, really specific locations for quests, like, you can't zoom in on the map at all, like and
Mm.
your map is big, so you can see it better a little bit better than I can,
Oh, yeah,
but
that is true.
it works, though.
But yeah, I'm glad you were able to get your graphics set up. Now, for those who don't understand, this game was released in 2007. Me and him
Yeah.
are playing it in 2025. This game has been constantly supported like EverQuest was. since 2007. They already got a pre-order out for a new update. We took the
New
map.
expansion.
Yeah, new expansion. We took the map, and the zone you're in is a smaller section of a larger zone, which is a smaller section of a larger zone. So
Which is the
it's
smaller section of the entire map. It's
yeah.
massive. The game is huge, and I've gotten so far. I think I'm almost level 16, and there's the max level right now is 150, and the next expansion puts it up to 160. So got a ways to go,
Just a
but
little
I'm
bit.
taking my time with it. I'm not gonna try and rush through. I want to like kind of enjoy the story and follow my way through it. Like I'm in the prologue right now still, but just gonna
Yes. So
go
the
through.
game follows the story of the books, but you're not actually doing the story of the books. You got a series of stories that follow alongside the books.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's a whole different story tied to the main story, and it's actually quite fun to me.
Right. And I mean, yeah, like you said, it takes place during the books and stuff. Like right at the beginning, I made an elf character, and right at the beginning, I'm doing quests for Elrond. So, like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of cool. Like, I'm enjoying it so far. The combat's really good. The movement and everything's super fluid. I love that you get a mount at a really low level, so you can get around a little
Mhm.
faster. Um, I wish there was like quicker ways to travel though, without having to buy um like
Mithril coins.
the mithril coins to teleport you, but, yeah.
But yeah, so with the mithril coins and with that, there are some points where you can just swift travel to without using those, but it's rare. Uh, and you can not build houses, but buy houses and modify them and all that good stuff. There's and it's one of those free to play games that it's truly free to play. It does limit it to you in some aspects, but it's not a
It's
game
nothing game
breaking
breaking, yeah.
limitation. Yeah.
Like, it makes like, you have to go to a mailbox to check your mail, whereas if you're a subscriber, you can do it anywhere. You
Mhm.
have, like in some of your, like, little deeds that you do, like, with your craft or I mean, your, like, casting skills. Like, for instance, I have a little deed that's it's kinda like an achievement, but, like, you have to use your fire-based spell 250 times, and once I hit 125, it said that I can't do any more for the day. Whereas if you're a subscriber, you could do it until you're done, basically, if you want. But I like
Yeah.
the killing deeds and stuff like that, I haven't had that issue with. I've been able to kill just fine. It's only the casting skills ones that did that to me. So I don't know,
It's
like,
your class deeds that are limited, it looks like.
oh, yeah, and that doesn't really I haven't had that affect me. It's been like I've been able to chat. Like some games, if you don't subscribe, you can't chat and chat, which is obnoxious. So you kind of have to subscribe because
Mhm.
you can't play an MMO without being able to chat with people.
Oh, of
But
course.
this one, yeah, no, they pretty much let you do everything. And I think it's because it's a Daybreak game. Daybreak is known for making the majority of their money off of their online shop with all their cosmetic stuff and their level boosts and things like that. So they can get away with not have making people pay the subscription.
Plus, you got people like me who have a subscription, forget about it for several years, come back into the game and realize you have a ton of uh uh end game store points, and then you go and play it and realize I need to actually start a character from the beginning and get it to the end. So now I just paid for a whole annual subscription last a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow. You went full annual, huh?
It's only 100 something dollars a year. It's
Only?
like only $160 a year. When I look at what I'm paying for streaming, and I'm pointing to my TV with my knife hand, uh, streaming and all of the other games I've played throughout the years, paying that's not that bad to me. I'd rather pay one subscription, not have to worry about it for a full another year, then just put tax money aside and pay it again when it comes due.
Yeah. See, I especially lately have been bouncing around between games so much that
So for you, it's not a good idea.
and I didn't like I don't know yet. Like I haven't fully made an opinion yet. Like I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. I guess we'll see how we go. Like it looks like there's a pretty decent amount of people chatting in chat, which is kind of good. Like I don't want to like get up higher. I have already ran into the situation where I've tried to run like lower level dungeons and stuff, and there's nobody doing them, so I can't find groups for things, and that's kind of annoying. But like, it makes sense because it's a lower level dungeon, and the game is 18 years old, so not many people are doing the lower level dungeons anymore. But
Yeah, a lot of the people I've seen now where I'm at, because I'm level 30, I was in the Lonelands and I was running across player after player after player. So even though it's a
yeah, I've ran across
18-year-old
some
game,
people.
there's a lot of players still in this game.
Yeah,
And there's still enough players to where they're having to create layers for each instance. For,
yeah.
so
It's funny because like when I was looking at the online shop and stuff, it's like y- you get so many character slots, but then you have to buy extra ones or whatever, and it's like
mhm.
extra character slot number 30, extra character slot number 31. And I'm like, why would anybody have that many characters? Even if you made one of each different type of character, that's only like what, 9 or 10 different
well,
classes?
well, let's see. If I want to play each race, have each of the available classes.
That's wild. Like that is just wild. So, but I don't know. I'm giving it a shot. We'll see. Um, if it ever gets to the point where I feel like I need to subscribe, I will, but, like, at the moment, I don't see any reason to subscribe.
Yeah,
I'm
unlike
perfectly fine
Star
without it.
Wars, unlike Star Wars: The Old Republic, where you are extremely limited when you're a free to play.
Yeah, they
Like you
handicap
can't
you
use,
bad.
yeah, you can't use any purple gear or anything like that. Lord of the
You
Rings
can't
is
even use
truly,
chat.
yeah, Lord of the Rings is truly a very open free to play.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it if you want to get into it and play free to play because you're not limited to level 20 like you are with WoW. You are not limited to what you can use really like you are
Oh,
in.
WoW's a lot higher now. I think WoW's, like, 60 or 80 or something like that
It
now
might have
for
been,
free.
they might have bumped it up to 60. I don't remember. I remember that
Yeah.
for a while it was level 20, but either way, uh, it's a fully accessible game.
Mhm.
There are codes where you can unlock until November 3rd, there's a code that you can unlock every zone they have except for the one that's out right, the most recent one, and the one coming out on the expansion. So they make it where you can play. They really want you to play this game, and
Right.
I highly recommend it. It to me, it's fun and it has a
Especially if
really
you're a
good
Lord of the
story.
Rings fan, like,
Mhm.
just the lore and everything in the game is it's gonna be really fun. Like, I can already tell, like, I'm already coming across characters I recognize and know, and I'm like, "Oh." Little towns
Oh
and
yeah.
areas that, like, they went through in the movies, and you're like, "Oh, this is kinda neat."
What's
So,
cool is I'm playing a Hobbit, and I started in the Shire. And there's a lot more to the Shire than just Hobbiton, where Baggins lives.
yeah.
There's a lot more areas, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out and seeing. I know that it's already getting kinda slow to level, though, at, like, level 16, like, I can only imagine how long this Trog's gonna take all the way to 150. Hopefully, it speeds up a little bit
It should.
somewhere.
Once you start getting to the content outside of the starting zones, you start flying through levels. I It took me once I hit level 20, it took me a while to start getting going, but once I left Breland and went to the lowlands, I flew up through the levels.
Yeah, that's probably partially what it is. I mean, I could always raise the difficulty up a little and get more frames per kill because I'm literally like taking on like 4 or 5 enemies at a time and not losing any life. I'm just wrecking stuff. So
Mhm.
I
And
don't know.
what's nice about this game over some of the other games I've seen is you can have 2 different skill sets or more set up. So I'm running a with Archon, I was running a Guardian and I had tank set up as the first build, and I just realized that was just there's no point in
Overkill.
it.
Yeah, we didn't need it.
So I switched over to DPS and I switched to my second skill tree option and set it to DPS and started building a DPS character.
Yeah, I mean, it's very like WoW does that too. You can be dual spec.
Yeah, I just like the
It's
fact
just
that dual spec, you can buy more
it's
slots to
free.
have more specs. Yeah.
I remember WoW used to cost like I think it's free now, but back in the day, it used to cost a ton if you wanted to unlock dual spec.
Yeah.
It was expensive, but I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I'm enjoying it, so we'll see where it takes us. But yeah, that's pretty much been. Oh, and one other thing that I did this week, I guess, is I've been I had to go for get my DOT card for my job and stuff. I had to go get that renewed because it's going to expire later this month. And while I was sitting there waiting, they told me it was going to be like an hour and a half wait at least. I'm like, oh, okay. So I was like, what am I going to do? And I'm looking through and I'm like, oh, I keep hearing about this Chad Powers show.
You were telling me about that earlier.
I keep hearing about this Chad Powers show. So I started watching it. And I got about 15 minutes into the first episode. And of course, it didn't take an hour and a half. It took them like not even 20 minutes before they called me back. So, but I got that 15 minutes had me hooked enough in this show where I'm like, okay, when I get home, I got to watch it. So I was like, all right, I'm going to watch the first episode when I finish watching the first episode when I get home. And I watched all three because there's three out right now. I couldn't stop at the end of the first one because it's so good. It's so funny. I was cracking up. If you like football, like you'll love the show because it's hilarious. It follows a football player. Well, a wannabe football player.
Yeah, you were telling me earlier I needed to check it out because I think it was yesterday. We are talking about the best football movies, and I think Friday Night Lights, in a way, trumps
No,
uh,
it doesn't.
Remember the
It does
Titans.
not trump Remember the Titans. There is no football
But
movie better than Remember the Titans.
but I live in
In
Texas,
fact,
so Friday Night Lights about a Texas high school football team.
in fact, I would even go as far as to say that Friday Night Lights would probably be number 4. Well, I don't even know if it'd be number 4 on my list because you got Rudy.
Eh,
Rudy was a great movie. You got Invincible with
which
Mark
one's that
Wahlberg.
one?
The one with
Oh, where
Mark
he's
Wahlberg.
the kicker. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not the kicker. He plays a defensive lineman, or he plays a
Could
defense.
have sworn he was the kicker for the Eagles in that movie.
No, he's on the Eagles, but he's not the kickers. The kicker for the Eagles is that uh garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon movie with Ted or Tony Danza. He's the kicker one. That's the kicker one. But no, he plays defense. He's like a walk on that's like 30 something years old who like walks on him for the Eagles, and that movie's great. I forgot about the garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon. How do you forget a mouthful like that?
Hey, my number 3 for football movies is The Replacements.
The Replacements is also I would put up on Friday Night Lights.
My top 3 would be Friday Night Lights. It would be Remember the Titans. Then the one I just mentioned because my mind just went
Replacements.
blank. The Replacements.
Gridiron
Number
Gang.
number 4 would be. Oh, that's a tough one. What
Gridiron
would I
Gang's
put
up
in?
there. What
For
else?
me, I would put number 4 as
The
Varsity
Longest Yard.
Blues.
There's so many good football movies, man.
Yeah, but I put Varsity Blues above some of them, and
Varsity
then number
Blues is another one that's great.
Not Another Teen Movie's another one that's. People ask me
You
where I
lost me there.
first. People tell me where I saw the very first uh movie where I saw Chris Evans, and it is Not Another Teen Movie.
The very first movie I ever saw him in was Fantastic Four.
Oh, wait, I was wrong. No, did I see which one
He
came
played Johnny
first?
Blaze. I'm pretty sure that one came out first.
All right, Not Another Teen Movie came out in 2001. Or the original Fantastic Four came out in 2000 and that one. That's the one I want. 2005.
Really? Oh,
Yep.
well, I didn't see Not Another Teen Movie when it first came out because those
I
movies
saw
were
it when it came
ridiculous.
out on tape, which was only about 6 months later. Uh,
Huh. Tape.
the character he plays was not a defensive end. He
It
plays
was
a
he plays
receiver, unless they didn't actually follow his.
what?
Let's see, 1970s.
I thought he was on defense because I know he played. I,
Shut
I I just keep
down.
going through the last play of the game in my mind where he just rocks that dude and makes him fumble it and then picks it up and runs it back for the touchdown.
Okay, let's
He's on
see.
defense at that point though. He might have played both, but that's just the
I'm
scene I
looking real
remember.
quick because let's see. They don't really say too much.
What's the write up on the movie?
That's what I'm glancing through right now, and I'm not seeing anything.
Invincible.
Be careful because if you type
I know.
Invincible, you
I
get the
said movie.
anime.
I typed in movie. Synopsis. Let's see. Lifelong football fan Vince Papali sees his wildest dreams come true. Becomes a member of the Philadelphia Eagle while teaching at a high school alma mater. 30-year-old gets a chance to try for his favorite team, for except for kickers, becomes the oldest rookie in NFL history who never played football in college.
Yeah, let's see. He was a kick returner. Let me go back one. Let's see. Yeah, because the person it's based on the story of Vince Papale.
Uh,
Uh, he was a receiver and a special teams player.
okay, yeah, it makes sense because special teams was the play I keep seeing in my head over and over is a special teams play. So
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, I mean that's another good football movie. Like there's so many good football movies.
there are. I can't lie, there are.
So, but Friday Night Lights. If I was gonna watch a football movie, that one wouldn't even come up in my head. Like there's so many other ones I would pick. So I don't know. That's just me. Anyway, so that was my week.
We
Half
swim
hour
back in.
later. Half hour later. That was my week. How was your week?
My week wasn't too bad. I actually spent the week at work. We pulled off the feat that hasn't been done since we've upgraded the
You
aircraft
pulled
to
off
our
your
current.
feet?
Yeah, I mean, I no longer have any feet.
Wow.
No, I have.
Would you say you were defeated?
Doo-doo.
Oh.
No, so my section has to get through 3 different engine runs on a jet before we can say it's good to go. And for the first time since I've worked at this company, we got through we got the jet, got through all of its testing and sent it to the next department in less than 48 hours.
Dang.
Yeah, that it hasn't been done since it's rare to see that happen since we
Dang.
upgraded to the new lot. So it was awesome to see that, and we succeeded, and I love it. My team was happy. We finally hit that milestone that every time we came close, something came up, and it was awesome seeing that. I feel great for the team. I gave the team the full credit, and I keep getting yelled at for giving my team the full credit and not taking any credit for myself.
Hey, man, sometimes you just gotta boost the
Well,
team up.
I have to sit there, and it's taken me time to realize I have to take credit where credit's due because I am the supervisor. There's times where you go, my guys did this and they did all of it, and I assisted with making sure they were set up for success
Yeah,
by making sure the supervisor and that everything else was taken care of so they could continue doing what they do best.
there you
And
go.
I keep not doing that, so I keep getting talked to about that. Uh, but we finally did that, so it was a really great week at work. And at home, I started streaming on Twitch my Lord of the Rings gameplay in the mornings during the week, and then on the weekends for a few hours at night, or as of today, most of the day. Um,
Sweet.
yeah, played the Lord of the Rings from launch in 2007, and it was the first game I played after Star Wars Galaxy shut down. So I jumped into that game with the Crescent Order, my guild, and we played that game for a long time. Then Star Trek Online came out. We jumped over to that game. I started playing that game and got really hooked because it's Star Trek. And then I kept forgetting about, or I have it. I've always made sure that game's installed on my computers because I jump into it randomly year in and year out. I don't just stick with it. And so my highest character is only level 50, and that's my character I started with at the very beginning. So what I did was I made the resolution I am going to start a character from level 1 and work that character to end game content. What that means is I'm going to stream anytime I'm playing that character. I will not play that character not on stream. And I'm going to take her to the end. I built her based on a D&D concept that I had for a character. So she's a hobbit champion, and I have her set up for AoE fighting. So she's running with 2 weapons and all that stuff. It's based on a halfling uh, barbarian I had, barbarian fighter concept I had. And so far it's working out really well.
Hmm.
Um, And the reason why I worded it like that is because that was been my week. It's been a very good week, and I think we should roll into our topic.
Yeah, because you actually touched on a bunch of things right there that go really well in our topic.
Yes, they do.
Like, for instance, a lot of the stuff I was reading. Now we're talking about the impact of Tolkien's work
Hmm.
on modern day fantasy, and I was actually reading that a lot of, well, the majority of D&D is based off of the Lord of the Rings.
A lot of high fantasy in general.
Is based on yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of people say he generated the foundation for high fantasy, for
Yeah.
modern high fantasy and modern fantasy. It's because hobbits and halflings, they're similar. Uh, they actually call each other the same. They call
They
the hobbits halflings in the movies
yeah.
and in the books. Um, you got elves. That's where elves came from, and the beautiful elvish script
That's
started
where
with
the Elvish
Tolkien.
language came from, yes, but elves were around before Tolkien. He's just the one who
The way we know
made them
elves
yeah,
now,
he's the one that made them the way they are. Yeah.
yeah, because elves have always been in, I think, Norwegian culture, something over there across the
Yeah.
pond. They're heavy in one of those cultures, but they're more like what you see from I want to say what's that movie series? Hogwarts. Harry
Harry
Potter.
Potter?
That's more like what people think of elves when you think of them
Like
in the
house elves?
in the historical aspect of elves.
or
What
like
we know as
Christmas
elves
elves
in
and things like that. Yeah,
yeah, what we know as elves for fantasy genre is Tolkien can help really define that.
right.
Dwarves, as we know them in fantasy, wizards, all that.
Yeah, we were actually
He
having a conversation today in Discord with Rabbit, and like she kind of we were telling her this, like how he basically, modernized everything, like everything you can think of fantasy came from Tolkien. She's like, I don't know about that. I was like, you name me one fantasy author who's writing fantasy books today that hasn't been like influenced in any way by Tolkien. Just one. Go ahead. I'll wait. I mean, even like, you know, the world of Westeros. I mean,
yeah.
George R. R. Martin himself said that, Tolkien inspired his entire series for Game of Thrones. So like, I mean, that, Brandon Sanderson, Robert Jordan, all of your Terry Pritchard, all your like major fantasy writers will credit their inspiration, one of their inspirations, as Tolkien. Or, for instance, Brandon Sanderson said he grew up really loving Robert Jordan's books, the Wheel of Time books and stuff like that, which were inspired by Tolkien. Like, so
All
it's
right.
kind of, oh,
Are you ready for this one?
nope.
The world of
I said
D&D
I'm not
was
ready.
influenced. I know you said that, but I'm going to do it anyway. According to Wikipedia, take it as you will. Uh, I typed in Gary Gygax's inspiration for D&D in Google, and the first, not even the AI came up first. Wikipedia came up first, and it says the world of D&D was influenced by world mythology, history, pulp fiction, and contemporary fantasy novels, as listed by Gygax in the Appendix N of the original Dungeon Master's Guide. The importance of J.R.R. Tolkien's works, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, as an influence on D&D is controversial.
Did
But
you
you
not
can't.
hear me when we first started this and I said D&D was based off of
Yeah, but they say it's controversial. I don't know how you say that's controversial because half elves, half elves, dwarves, orcs, rangers, and the like is uh, is from that stuff there, and a lot of people seem to forget J.R.R. Tolkien was around in World War I, and he wrote the Lord of the Rings, a lot of the Lord of the Rings while in foxholes, if I remember correctly. So I'm sorry, that trumps D&D by a lot. So
right.
whether you
And
want to admit it or not, it has to have some
it had a
influence.
huge impact because if you look at like the art of their characters and stuff, you can tell that
Mhm,
it was highly inspired. And if it wasn't directly inspired by Lord of the Rings or, Tolkien's work, then it was inspired by something that was inspired by Tolkien's work. Like, I mean,
mhm.
it's the root of all. Like, even Magic the Gathering came from like D&D and Tolkien's work. Like, all of your major things here are all like have a root, and that root is a giant tree, and that giant tree is Tolkien.
And here is the one reason I have no faith in Wikipedia,
Oh gosh, here we go.
because theonering.net has an interview with Gary Gygax.
Hmm.
The very first question, do you enjoy the works of J.R.R. Tolkien? If so, how did he influence your work? And he goes, oh, I'm going to be in trouble from the get go. I love The Hobbit, read it once to myself, then about 3 or 4 times aloud to my children. Um, he was also a Swords and Sorcery fan. He read his first Conan yarn, blah, blah. How did it influence the D&D game? Whoa, plenty, of course. Just about all the players were huge JRT fans, and so they insisted that I put as much Tolkien influenced material into the game as possible. Anyone reading this that recalls the original D&D game will know that there were Balrogs, Ents, and Hobbits in it. Later, those were removed and new non-JR Tolkien things substituted. Baylor demons, treants, and halflings. So, from his mouth himself, Gary Gygax has said he is extremely influenced by.
Yeah. I mean, look at any fantasy novel out there and you're going to see hints and roots of Tolkien in there. Like,
No,
that's
you're going to. Uh, so, Lord of the Rings, because of how old his works are, anybody who's done anything with fantasy has read Lord of the Rings
right.
or knows of Lord of the Rings,
Mhm.
or in modern day era has seen the movies Lord of the Rings, um,
Right.
or something from that whole universe. Uh, it's it was the first, as we know it, massive world building, language building, um, and it was written. It was a good way that he expressed at the time modern sociological impacts,
Right.
the World War I, for example, and it helped him write that story, and that and everything he added into that, because he was great at building races, he was great at building uh languages. uh like I said multiple times, he created what we know as the Elvish script in the Elvish language. It's a fully
Mhm.
functioning language, and his world building was phenomenal. And because of that, I think a lot of people sit there, and whether you can say you were directly influenced by him or not, I would have to say a lot of people were subconsciously or indirectly influenced by him if you weren't directly influenced by him, because of his impact and the Lord of the Rings impact on fantasy culture as we know it.
Right. I mean, if you write a book and include elves in those books, or goblins, or orcs, or anything of
Mhm.
those sorts, you were influenced by Tolkien. Like, you can't say you weren't in some way, shape, or form, because you were, because those were things that he created and made popular, made mainstream. Like,
Let's see. According to this AI breakdown,
oh,
uh, his epic scope and world building, we already discussed that.
hmm,
Uh, with his creating a secondary world with its own unique history, languages, and mythologies, giving it depth and a sense of reality. Commercial viability. His success proved that fantasy fiction was a viable and profitable market separate from other genres. This one really got me. Genre legitimatization. As an Oxford scholar, Tolkien's work helped legitimize fantasy as a respected and serious genre, appealing to an adult audience and academics. I read that and I was like, oh,
yeah.
see, he, it
The
says it right
only
there.
the only fantasy series that I can think of off the top of my head that I think that I can't tie in with Tolkien would be like the Harry Potter series, because it's like that's the only one I don't really see a tie in. But other than that, like, I can't think of any other fantasy series out there that I don't see some form of tie in.
What's her name? I forgot her name.
Who, J.K. Rowling?
There you go. Following influences. Let's see. Let's see who she. All right, bam. Let's see. She cites several writers as influences in her citation in her creation of her best-selling Harry Potter series. Writers, journalists, and critics have noted that the books also have a number of analogs. Acknowledged, she has said British folklore and mythology,
Mhm.
the Iliad, the Bible,
Yeah.
William Penn, and I can't say the other name, so I'm not going to try, but it starts with an A. Uh, the Pardoner's Tale, Macbeth, Emma, the Story of Treasure Seekers, The Wind of Willows, the Chronicles of Narnia, Dorothy L. Sayers, The Little White Horse, The Sword and the Stone. I don't see anywhere in here where it mentions The Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, I mean, but there's no orcs, like,
Oh, wait, I
there
stand by. Analogs, The Lord of the Rings.
but, like, I mean, I guess, but there's nothing Tolkienish in her books, like, the way that magic is used differently, like, it's about a school, it's about, wizards and stuff, which not the same type of wizards.
So the analogs people have brought together between the two is Tolkien's Wormtongue and Rowling's Wormtail, Tolkien's Shelob and Rowling's Aragog, Tolkien's Gandalf and Rowling's Dumbledore, the Nazgul to her Dementors, Old Man Willow to the Whomping Willow, and other similarities like that. But then the
Hmm,
biggest one is Tolkien's Dark Lord Sauron and Rowling's Lord Voldemort, who are both sometimes within their respective continuities unnamed due to intense fear surrounding their names, both often referred to as the Dark Lord, which was coined, that archetype was coined by uh, J.R.
well,
Tolkien.
yeah,
So
I guess that's true.
so
There are
there
heads.
are similarities, and if you think about it though, you might not know, and people who have never heard this concept before might not have known that The Lord of the Rings and J.R. Tolkien had as much impact in what they actually did. So anything she could have taken The Sword and the Stone, The Chronicles of Narnia, which has tie-ins to uh The Lord of the Rings as influence and stuff.
Kind of. The Chronicles of Narnia is based off the Bible.
It is.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis was a very devout Christian, and, like, the whole story about Aslan, aka Jesus, getting killed on the stone and then being resurrected, and like, it's got very, very strong tie-ins to Christianity and religion. But I mean, I can
Mhm.
definitely see some tie-ins with like Tolkien and fantasy and stuff as well. So
I wonder if C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien knew each other.
I don't know.
They both were Oxford scholars and they both served in the First World War together.
It's possible.
And it is possible. Things that make you think, though, this really makes you think when you sit down and start uh, looking at everything that Tolkien created and everything that we see as high fantasy these days.
Right.
Uh,
I mean, like, if you think about all the things that if Tolkien hadn't wrote those books, all the things we wouldn't have today. It's wild. Like,
yeah,
we wouldn't have EverQuest. We wouldn't have, um, you know,
The Lord of the Rings online.
Lord of the Rings Online, obviously. We wouldn't have World of Warcraft. We wouldn't have
Might have Dungeon and Dragons, most
Dungeons and
likely.
Dragons. We wouldn't have Magic the Gathering. We wouldn't have, like, Aragon. We wouldn't have any of those, like, any books by Brandon Sanderson, any of the Wheel of Time books. We wouldn't have any of that. We wouldn't have, you know, all the shows and stuff that we love to watch, like Rings of Power, which Rook
So
hasn't seen yet.
I
Gasp.
know I should be punished. I should be spanked. So I was thinking, people ask me all the time if I could sit down with anybody in history, who would I sit down with if I could say sit down, have coffee with them, and just talk to them. And
Mhm.
a lot of times I give the answer, I don't know. I really honestly don't know. And I would give some BS answer. Sitting here thinking about talking about Tolkien and how his mind worked to come up with all this, I sit there and think, I would actually want to sit down with Tolkien and actually just talk to him about how he came up with all this. What helped him come up with a fully functioning language?
Right.
What helped him come up with elves,
I've thought about that before too, like
dwarves?
sitting down with him or sitting down with somebody like Stephen King and wondering, like, where, like, who hurt you? as a child. Like, where did you come up with some of this twisted, crazy stuff?
Maybe for
But
Stephen King, yes, but
yeah.
we all know after I told y'all that if I remember correctly, he wrote The Lord of the Rings or came up with the concept of Lord of the Rings in the foxholes during World War One. So that's where he got his information.
Hmm. Yeah.
But there's a lot of the ream of tropes and cliches that many people use these days are created by him, and I would just love to sit down with him and ask him how. How did you come up with this world building?
Or
How did you do this?
I would love to ask him, like, what do you think of where your idea has gone now? Like, how it's expanded, where it's gone. Because it started as one thing and it's just huge now. Like,
Mhm,
huge. Huge, and it's expanded so much. Like I said, it Game of Thrones, like, completely different take on the fantasy genre, but it all started with Lord of the Rings. Like,
mhm. A lot of
I
people
wonder what he
don't
would think
realize that
about it.
too. So, Tolkien's influence can even be felt in novels that avoid these tropes, as writers deliberately write an anti-Tolkien novel. If you're looking at books that try avoiding Tolkien's shadow, the Worldbreaker Saga by Cameron Hurley, Getting the Ninth by Tamsin Mirrors, and so while George R. R. Martin himself blatantly says that he was influenced by The Lord of the Rings, that does go outside of the typical tropes that was set forth by J.R. Tolkien. But you can still see the tie-ins.
Yeah. He won like I read somewhere that he wanted to write what the world would be like after the elves and stuff left. And somebody's like, apparently it's just a bunch of incest.
Well, if you look at it, a bunch of all the elves leave, all of the dwarves are gone, and it's just man, and we screwed up the world.
Yeah.
That's what George R. R. Martin says.
Well, if you look at it, it was man that kind of screwed up the world during the Lord of the Rings too. We're the
Fair,
ones that got tempted by the ring and
fair.
screwed everything up. So, yeah,
Yeah, but and my favorite line at the end of this article is some writers might be tired of hearing their work described as like Lord of the Rings when it is anything but. However, that said, Tolkien's influence didn't just define the fantasy genre, it created a readership and a legacy that allows us to write our novels and find people who want to read them. That means we owe Tolkien a very great debt.
right. He's kind of like, I know this is gonna rub you the wrong way, but like Tolkien is to fantasy like Star Wars was to sci-fi.
Nah, I actually can't argue with that one because
It came out before Star Trek.
Star wrong.
No.
Yes, 100% wrong, sir.
Oh well, there was
Star
the
Trek
TV
came
shows.
out
Yeah,
in the original series in the 60s.
yeah. Well, Star Wars was
Star
better.
Trek Star Trek is what not as successful as a comparison, but Star Trek is what Lord of the Rings is to fantasy. Star Trek is to Star Wars because they improved upon it with Star Wars. And then they came out with the next generation, which is where Star Trek really truly took off, in my opinion.
Well,
But Star Trek came out and showed that there was an interest in sci-fi media
yeah, I suppose. But
outside of those
Star Wars did it better
horrible
though.
outside of those horrible alien movies from the 60s that were horrible.
Horrible movies that were horrible. Nice.
Yeah, well, that's the best way I can put it. Ooh, I'm curious about some. Uh, I can't remember his name. What's his man? You're gonna hate me for this.
Ugh.
Gene Roddenberry.
Wow. Really?
Not him. No, Roddenberry
Ooh.
influence. Uh, J.R.R. Tolkien. Let's see if anything comes up that Gene Roddenberry thinking of a science fiction version of Tolkien.
Who are you blanking on?
Huh?
Who are you blanking on?
George, what's his name?
Lucas?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow.
The problem is I see his face as clear as day when I'm trying to come up with the name. But and I
Wow.
know George, I just can't remember his last name.
Wow. Wow. I might have to take your nerd card for a week or so on that one.
Let's see. I don't see any articles where Gene Roddenberry was influenced by Tolkien, but was George Lucas?
I don't know.
If I spell his name right instead of Lucas, I name it Lucas. That'd be nice. Oh, somebody actually answered that. And yes, George Lucas was influenced by J.R.R. Tolkien, particularly the three epic fantasy structure of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Lucas combined his storytelling approach with science fiction elements and specific plot points, character archetypes, and themes from Tolkien's work appear in Star Wars.
That makes sense.
No wonder why Star Wars is so good.
The only thing I'm sure this was answered somewhere. The only thing that I don't understand is why George Lucas decided to release Star Wars as 4, 5, and 6. Like, that always boggled my mind. Instead of, like, starting from 1, he's like, "Oh, we're just gonna release it as 4, 5, and 6." Like, why? It just never always irritated me as a kid.
Yeah,
But on the
yeah,
topic of
Lucas.
Tolkien, before we wrap up this topic today, our Rabbit asked, and I thought our listeners should know this as well. What was your first experience with the Lord of the Rings?
My first experience with The Lord of the Rings, I will not lie, it was the movies.
That was your
Because of the
first?
movies, I went back and read the books, realized there was a lot of similarities and a lot of differences, and then the Lord of the Rings video game.
Okay.
What was yours?
My first experience was I wanna say in 6th grade, maybe, and my class took a field trip to see The Hobbit play. We went and saw The Hobbit as a
Oh,
play, and I thought it was so flippin' cool that I read the Hobbit book. I've never actually read the Lord of the Rings book, but I read the Hobbit book. I remember reading the Hobbit. I didn't even know that there was a Lord of the Rings. I just knew about the Hobbit. And then later on, I found out, like, when the movies came out, I found out that they were, part of the Hobbit. Like, well, the Hobbit was part of them. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. So then I went and saw the movies. And I also played, like, the games and stuff like that. Like,
oh,
there
of
was,
course.
what was it? Nintendo 64 or something that had a Hobbit game, like the Hobbit game.
I don't remember.
It was either that or PlayStation 1 or 2. What if I had a Hobbit game? Oh, GameCube, I think it was. That had the Hobbit game.
Let's see. What's the Middle Earth? The Hobbit in 1982 on
Nope, that
Commodore
wasn't it.
64.
That
All
wasn't it.
right. So, what year are we looking at, sir? 2002?
Let me look. Oh, there it is. It popped up right away. The Hobbit 2003. and it
That
was
wasn't the
on.
first one.
That's the one I'm thinking of, though.
Yep, that was the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, and it was on what, GameCube?
Uh, Xbox, PlayStation 2, GameCube,
GameCube.
and
Yep, I
Windows
had
and
it
Game
on
Boy.
GameCube. That's the one I remember. The one on GameCube. Played the crap out of it. But I remember I saw all three of the original Lord of the Rings movies. I saw them in theaters at the midnight releases. And same with the, I mean, when they did the three Hobbit movies, I went and saw those all at midnight releases too because I liked them. I
Oh,
thought it
of
was weird
course.
that they broke it into three movies for the Hobbit, but like it made
You
sense
want
for
to
Lord of the Rings. But
you want to know my most recent outside of the video game, my most recent influence of Lord of the Rings?
yeah, we were playing it earlier today.
I said outside the Lord of the Rings Online.
Oh
The commander deck from Magic the Gathering for Lord of the
oh
Rings.
yeah, I don't have any of those cards.
I had the commander deck. I went out and bought it. I actually enjoy they have the One Ring, which is a $2 million card because it's one of one.
Yeah,
So
Post
they
Malone bought
bought
it.
it for, yeah, for $2 million, man. Woo!
Post Malone. Yeah.
Oh, so we were talking about the Lord of the Rings Online, right?
Uh-huh.
It was released in 2007 by Turbine Inc., Midway Codemasters.
Hmm.
Um,
I remember that, and I actually played it at launch as well.
and Daybreak owns it now.
Yep.
It is still going. So here's the order of its expansion packs. I'm just going to say the years: 2008, 9, 11, 12, 13, 17, 19, 22, 21, 22, 23. And it looks like we're going to have one either later this year or the beginning of next year. So they've actually been pretty regular in updating it.
Fun fact: Daybreak also used to own EverQuest,
Yeah.
so it makes sense why I like the game.
So the developers, so publisher, Daybreak Game Company owns it as a publisher.
Mm.
The developers, Turbine Inc., owned it. Was a developer from 2007 to 2016. From 2016 to now, Standing Stone Games develops it. And they're also the ones that do Dungeons and Dragons Online. Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. Interesting. Yeah, I
All right.
mean, I can definitely see that in
Lord
Daybreak.
of the
I
Rings has
definitely
been.
see the Daybreak model in their Lord of the Rings online store. It
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of the Daybreak game store that was in
I
EverQuest.
mean, if it works, why fix it?
Yeah, it's a good model.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's this is a topic we could really deep dive if we wanted to, but this is a very good generic topic because of how influential J.R. Tolkien was on the fantasy genre.
For real.
I think it wouldn't be as well developed as it is now, or at least we wouldn't think of elves or anything the way we do now if it wasn't for Tolkien.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same, and we
I
wouldn't
wouldn't.
like. There's so many big series out there that just wouldn't exist
Mhm.
without Tolkien. Like The Wheel of Time, one of my favorite book series of all time. So
One of my
heavily
favorite
in.
book series, my favorite book series of all time, Dragonlance Chronicles. That's based off. That's a D&D campaign setting, which D&D probably wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Tolkien.
Right.
So yeah, rest in peace, Tolkien. You're awesome. I really want to meet his spirit and actually just ask questions.
Yeah. Just have a chat.
Just have a chat.
Meet him at King's Cross Station like Harry did Dumbledore. Just have a little
That would be
chat with him.
awesome. You know how awesome that would be? So So you got this J.K. Rowling who doesn't think that doesn't say that she was influenced by you, but here we are at King Cross Station where one of our characters.
That's funny.
All right, so I think this is a good wrap up point because you
Yeah,
have to get up for work in the morning.
I do. I do. I do.
All right, everybody. So, as usual, if you're watching this YouTube video, please do us a favor and like and share this. Like, subscribe, and share this YouTube video because we like making it. Uh, and we keep coming up with random content like this. This one was an off the top of the wall. What should we talk about? And Rabbit gave us, hey, why don't you talk about Lord of the Rings? Okay.
I came up with this topic. She wanted us to talk about our kids teaching us things.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You came up with the top.
This one was me.
Hey, I forgot who did what because we were in the middle of playing games and I was trying to focus on defeating things.
Yeah, cutting their feet
And I
off.
don't have kids, so I zoned out of the conversation.
Right. But
But we like making this content. It's awesome. If you really want to talk to me and Archon, just like Rabbit did today, you can jump in and talk to us if you see us online on our Discord, which is
discord.gg/raw podcasts.
both of us. Whenever we're on, we're usually in the chat. So just hop on and talk to us.
And even if we're not in the chat, if you jump in the chat, one of us will probably jump in shortly thereafter if we're home. Because anytime I
Exactly.
see anybody in there, I jump in. I don't always jump in and just sit there by myself, but like if I see somebody in there, I'll jump in and talk to them.
If I'm playing games, I'll jump in and just have my headset cocked on the side of my ear like this so I can hear when somebody chimes in. But otherwise, feel free if you don't want to talk to us, you can send us a direct message. Me and him always answer those. That's where we get a lot of our feedback from at times.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you're listening to us on the podcast, please give us a 5-star review and like the podcast. And if you can, share it on your social. You can reach us at Facebook, which is Raw Podcasts. You can reach us on our Instagram.
Just Raw Podcast 1.
Yeah.
I had to think about it for a second.
I know, so did I. We're not as active on there as we should be, but it is linked to both of our phones. So if you message us there, or you share something to us there, we will get it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, if you want to talk to us about anything business, I recommend hitting us up on our email because that's linked to both of our phones. We will get that email pretty instant. And me and him get the emails, we'll read it, and then we'll start discussing this email between us before we reply. But we will reply whether or not it's a yes, no, or whatever.
Right. That email is podcastraw@gmail.com.
Yes, it is.
You almost forgot that part.
Almost. So somewhere on this screen, when we get done, you will have the last week's episode and an episode YouTube thinks you should listen to. It'll also link you directly to our page. So thank you for listening, and I hope y'all have a wonderfully nerdy week.
Have a great week, guys. We'll see you next week.